You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching the Meta Show.
Wow.
And we're live! And I don't see you. Now I do. Hold on. Why are you so little? There! Ha! I fixed it. I didn't break it. We're live. We fixed it. The look on your face, you're like so concerned. Didn't you see me transition? You can see the screen.
I suppose I was actually not watching. You did, in fact, provide the screen for me, and I was like, whoa, what are we doing here? I was looking at chat here. I was seeing that Looney Fucker just subscribed with Twitch
Yes.
Prime. Already, we're getting some stuff. Let's look some Black Eagles. We're just starting here, and already things are happening.
Looney Fucker. That's
exciting.
a great name.
That's a good name. That is a really good name. Sally Selman, what up, dude? Yeah, so we're here today. It is a standard issue Saturday. We might be confusing some of our European friends because we have daylight savings time here in Freedomland, and everywhere else is not yet daylight savings time, so things are a bit off. And I'm wondering why it looks so fuzzy on the stream. Is my webcam? There it is. It's working now. CTU Bauer, what up, dude? 3 months in a row. So yeah, I moved again. Same apartment, different room. So we've got a little bit of light pollution because it's actually a bright and sunny day here in Madison. My drapes are down, so it's kind of hard for me to set off the rave quite like I'd like it. It's been an interesting week for us here in EVE Online. We're going to be showing you, as usual, guys, the capital training op from the Imperium is going to be in the background on CC, and we're going to just watch some pretty cool explosions. We've got Jay Amazingness and Apple Pear. Two of our top FCs as guests, and Apple Pear is going to be talking about the Dutch community for our international streaming segment.
Yay!
It's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, we've got it's kind of a weird show today. Not so much weird in like funny haha, but more there hasn't been too much nullsec news in EVE, but there's been a lot of like controversy. What are the controversies that we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, so the top story today is going to be the CCP outrage over Plex. Reddit has exploded with multiple. Normally, when Reddit gets mad, there's like one thread that hits 1,000 upvotes or 1,500, 2,000 upvotes, like with the Grad thing last week. But there's been at least 6 threads pop up, and all 6 have hit over 1,000. Like, they're just going crazy on Reddit. A lot of anger over the Plex situation. We also will have our Dutch United Imperium representative arriving. That's Apple Pear. Last week we had our Chinese representative from the United Imperium. Instead of United Nations, I think United Imperium fits well.
Works for me.
And then during our Nullsec Power Hour, we're going to talk about Naiden and his group of Circle Jerk buddies getting really upset and being bitter man-children. And we'll talk about why. We'll talk about
that's
why.
Awesome. So Naiden is mad about me talking.
Oh, he made a video about you. And we'll talk about
Naiden,
that.
or was that Rick's?
No, it was literally Naiden that posted it. So
Naiden made that. That's excellent.
I don't know if he made it or posted it, but he definitely posted it.
We were talking about no. It was Rick's who made it because we were seeing this on the Fireside Chat. Somebody linked this to me. It's the first time I saw it.
Yeah, and so he posted it to Reddit. So
that's awesome.
I give him credit.
He didn't even get that many upvotes. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Somebody talking shit about me and not actually getting
the thread is hilarious. And I'll talk about that during the segment. I read the whole thing. We'll also talk about the screenshot that was released. A guy posted a contract that's up for 3 months for 10 trillion ISK. It's the I have too much money contract. We'll talk about why that is a big thing. Horde got baited on a free Oracle and proceeded to die. An EVE nerd quit EVE, but he did it in style. We'll talk about what kind of style he had. EVE University CEO finally quits. Thank God. And then a quad boxing Revenant pilot got baited by FCON and killed. We'll talk about why that's big news.
Kill.
Yes,
we got lots of controversy and stuff like that, but I mean, we're sort of in that weird phase of EVE, guys, where it's before FanFest, right? And every time CCP starts like releasing dev blogs and stuff like that before FanFest, everybody, March is often a fairly quiet month in EVE because everybody is sort of doing the duck and cover thing. Let's see what sort of change is coming down the pipe. So the drama is kind of cute.
I didn't include the FanFest thing, but before we get to that, I have, of course, our station identification video to play real quick. So, yeah, going into the topic of FanFest, I hear a lot of Imperium line members will be there. I don't know who all from Imperium is going, because I don't ever pay attention to FanFest unless I'm going to FanFest. It's kind of like Vegas. So, unless I'm going, I don't really give a fuck. But I don't know how many people are going.
This year.
Oh, you are?
Yes, I am going. I missed last year, but I decided on a lark to go this year because they have Hodor is going to be DJing, and I saw him in Madison, and he's actually a really badass DJ. So apparently CCP has remembered how to throw parties, or at least get acts and bands that somebody might give a shit about, which should be good.
Speaking speaking of Hodor, I have a comment live from our own guest today. Jay, the great gay for Hodor amazing, says Hodor must destroy people. Holy shit!
Are you a loom leaking? You are a loom leaking.
No, he said it in a public channel. He didn't say it during a loom meeting. Did he? Hold on. Did he say it during a public? Yeah, he said it in the public channel. It was funny as hell. It had to be shared. God damn it. Okay, fuck you.
Okay. So anyway, what are we going to do here? We need to, before we go into our top story, which is talking about the CCP outrage and the controversy. Is there controversy? Reddit is angry. Do we actually care? If there's like 7 Reddit threads, my initial impulse is that they must be wrong and dumb, because whenever you get a bunch of people on our eve upvoting something, just like they were with Rick's Javix versus Grath Telkin, coming down on the side of Rick's Javix, even though he's a hypocritical piece of shit, and provoked Grath, and then on the Open Comm show essentially said yesterday explicitly that he intentionally provoked Grath, and he did mean to fight him in the real world or something.
Yeah, speaking about that.
We'll get there in a moment. They were wrong about that. So, I'm going into this whole CCP controversy about Plex thing relatively blind, but before we begin the top story, let's go ahead and do shout-outs, because we got a shitload.
A nominate 20 months says vote for CSM. Yes, get out your vote.
28th, god damn. 20 months in a row. Sorry, no, 20. You're right.
20?
You're right.
Yeah. Don't forget, vote Imperium, vote quality.
Vote what the state tells you to do.
Yes. CTU Bauer, we got him for 3 months. Thank you, sir. Mark Slot hits his 1 year mark. Thank you.
1 year mark.
He says Rick's Gravis versus Grath Telkin boxing match make Vegas great again. Oh god, that would be wonderful. They had like a boxing thing at FanFest that was really cringy.
Chess boxing.
But like an actual boxing would be hilarious, though. I'd do it.
EXE Villain, 3 months. We got Igami Ito for 12 months, another 1 year mark.
And Hildefer
for 25 months. Bring the rage.
Oh yeah, so it's going to be good. So we move into our top story with a click of a button. But before we move into our top story, Andal Chanter for 6 months, I want to introduce both of our guests just really quick. We have Jay Amaziness here as our normal guest. We do have a normal guest on our segment every week. And then we also have Apple Pear, who will be talking as our Dutch guest during the international segment shortly. So, top story. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
See,
so
I can actually wait until the very moment that the thing goes away now, because I can see it. I'm not just being held there in suspense.
I went and did everybody a favor just to make this nice, easy, and simple. I made a pastebin. This pastebin has every link to all the different outroar threads or call-out threads and the different order of which they happen and how CCP responds to each and every one of them. So I made it nice and simple for you with a pastebin link.
All right. But I'm gonna go ahead and say
here
because I'm this is not my territory. This controversy is not my controversy. So I want to just hear from you. Are you mad? What is going on? Why are some people mad? Why should we care? Why is this our top story?
All right. So why is this a top story? So the order of events came out. What makes it worthy of a top story is the pouring of outrage from the member base. So Reddit is usually a way that you can take your story as a starting point, kind of like a wiki page when you write a paper. You start at the wiki, and then you actually follow the sources from the wiki, and then go through and find if it's credible, right? And it's the same thing with Reddit. Each week for this show, we go through and we follow the sources. We find the posts. Well, this whole week has been filled with nothing but outrage over CCP change of the Plex and how they're going to change the Plex. For those of you that are unaware, Plex is being changed from 1 Plex equals 30 days to 500 Plex equals 30 days. So they're minimizing it, and their plan for this is to minimize it to a point where you can use maybe 100 Plex to get a small amount of Aurum to then do microtransactions. They want to make it so that Plex is used more often, and it's less of a one-and-done thing. This way, if you lose 100 Plex it's not that big a deal compared to in the past. Losing a Plex might cost you your game time for the month. So they're doing this new thing. They're hoping that it kicks off and helps with CCP. But where the outrage comes from, it starts with their initial post, and right in the initial post, it says right away that they are going to be removing Aurum, along with this Plex change of 1,000 or under. This caused people to just go apeshit. And I say people as in the general population. I thought it was funny, because I don't use Aurum. I have never used Aurum. It's been out for how many years? Never used the thing, right? But what someone discovered, they went into a really in-depth look at it, is that 1,000 Aurum is a lot of money. But it's only a lot of money when you think about EVE being a massive game with hundreds of thousands of people. If hundreds of thousands of people spent, $5, $6 to get, some Aurum, that's a lot of cash that CCP is going to wipe clean. So what they're going to do is, if you have Aurum, or however it's called, I don't know what you guys call it, I call it Aurum. It's AUR in the marketplace. It's used to buy like microtransactions, like skins and stuff. They're taking any value of 1,000 or lower and removing it from the game. Now, according to CCP, okay, so it's $5. So imagine if 100,000 people had 1,000 Aurum or less. There's, $500,000. They're just wiping clean.
Well, I mean, from a counterpoint perspective, one of the reasons why Aurum is getting... Now, people always freak out whenever there's a taking, right? Like, this would be referred to legally as a taking. People are just saying this money goes away, this stuff goes away. CCP tried to promote Aurum by giving almost every account that was playing EVE active a few years ago. They gave everybody like a Plex or two worth of free Aurum. I remember a while back I went through and I scraped all the Aurum off of my accounts, and I bought like multi-training certificates for a bunch of characters and shit like that. They would give it away for free as promos to try to get people to use it, because the skins weren't really priced appropriately. The whole Incarnate thing didn't really work. I mean, my counterpoint on this is that, nobody really gave a fuck about Aurum. And one of the only, this is basically like, how do I see what when is it just a rabble, torches and pitchforks hate mob versus a legitimate grievance, right? Like, here we have a scenario where nobody used Aurum. Nobody really liked the microtransactions. They liked skins, but then they started slashing the prices for skins in terms of Aurum. The people who are the most angry about this, I bet you, have never spent a single piece of Aurum at all. They're just looking for something to be all fuck you dad, fuck you CCP about. Like, if these people who are all running these little hate mob threads or whatever had actually been actively using Aurum, then there would be no need for CCP to change or adjust the Aurum thing in the first place, because everybody would have been loving it and really giving a fuck about it. The reason it's getting written off is because nobody gave a shit.
Yeah, it seems like it's the one guy who cared, and then the hate mob piling on, right? It's like somebody.
It's another day in RE.
Right, exactly.
Here's a good cause. We're outraged. Where we have no meaning in our lives. We're outraged about a thing.
Some of the things are some of the things people went into in depth and noticed. So, example, another issue on one of the threads is CCP has all over their website. It's a 20% discount, but because of the way the EU works, or the whatever they call it, their money system works, it ends up being like a 5% increase in cost. So people, I don't spend real money on EVE. I hate to tell you this, everyone. I use my billions and billions and billions of S to make EVE free, right? I've done that for 7-8 years. And most people do that. But the people that spend real money are the people that are going to notice a big problem, it seems.
Is it possible to, when is the Aurum going to be removed?
When this patch happens.
Okay, so if you are in a scenario like Gibberishavs, it's really hard. Gibberish Vaz, it's really hard to pronounce your name, dude. Is putting out here in chat. If you did buy Aurum with money and you are in that rounding error territory, you potentially have time to convert some ISK to Aurum.
You can't though.
You buy a Plex, converted it. Oh, you can't.
The 1,000 Aurum is like the amount. Anything under 1,000, you can't buy anything right now with. That's where the outrage comes.
No, but can you just acquire more Aurum and then have it converted?
Yeah, that's the thing. So that's what CCP's solution was. Go spend more money, get to a certain amount that you can then spend it on. And that's where people are going, wait a minute, you're telling me I gotta spend another $5, $10 to get use out of the $5 I've already spent. That's the question, that's the outrage there. It's like, oh, I've already went and done this, now I gotta spend more. And that's where the threat is. Now, of course, people are saying you can buy skins or buy little cheap things, but the actual value of the Aurum is where people are upset. I don't agree with it. I think people could be upset. I've heard people say that, hey, I'm losing real money here, but that's why Eve's kind of free to play, right? You make enough money to make it free to play, and then you don't have this
there are a lot of items you can buy under 1,000 ARM. This is the thing that
Really?
Noisy Gamer, yeah, I mean, he's saying out here, Chad.
Okay.
Now, again, like I love it when Noisy Gamer pops up in chat.
Good, because
if there's anything involving RMT or serious financial transactions, and I don't mean like macro level Eve finance, but I mean this kind of thing. The dude's an expert at it. So
yeah, I read like
we're pretty much just gonna
5,000
go-
comments this past week about all this, like going through all the different threads, actually taking the time to read them, and it just seemed like a lot of people were upset about the fact that they weren't going to get to use their 1,000. Maybe in their opinion, their 1,000 should go to something useful rather than just useless skins, because skins are just comedy items, right? You don't use skins for anything valuable, whereas multiple character trading is valuable. That can actually
Astro
matter.
skins you can get down for 280, or I mean,
Okay.
the thing is that this is a scenario where CCP, like this, any kind of taking is a predictable controversy, right? So
Right.
from my perspective is like, is it really a big deal? Probably not. But strategically speaking, was there an accommodation that CCP could have come to that would have resulted in not having to deal with this controversy? Right?
Yeah, it's like a PR problem, right? It could have got in front of
say
it.
like, maybe they say they zero out everybody's ARM, but they add ISK into the system, and we say, hey guys, like for everybody, if we removed this much ARM, we just give your character that much ISK, a flat rate conversion, and so you had 300 ARM taken, and you get like 300 million ISK.
That's what Rise said today. Apparently, according to his comments this morning on Talking at Stations, they don't want to do that, because by doing that, it'll increase the value on the market something like 30 trillion ISK. So there's so much ORM out there from like when they gave players free ORM that the players just never spent. There's actually a chance.
Well, they're just gonna have to. They're gonna have to eat their.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to eat their
happen.
fucking vegetables. Like the entire the reason why this is happening, and this is one of the reasons why I'm sort of like asking the questions about like sort of like a PR management or change management perspective for treating the player base right, is that CCP needs to get away from ORM, because ORM is kind of a legacy of a poorly implemented system from the Incarna era, right, with a monocle gate and things like that.
Yep.
But it was a poorly implemented system, and they want to move away from it. Okay, great. But if that is the case, then it's still sort of on CCP to try to say, okay, guys, we need to change this, we need to fix this, but we recognize that this fixes a problem that we created, and so what can we do to make it better? It's just kind of curious that these preventable, avoidable controversies keep happening.
I think that's where the outrage is too. In my opinion, it's you could have done something better about this. Like CCP tends to do this with their dev blogs, right? And that's what makes this show great, is because we get to talk about it the way we want to talk about it. But CCP will put a dev blog out there saying our developers, not our PR people, our developers have developed this great thing, and we're going to go with this. And then their PR department goes, oh fuck, now I got to go clean this up, because they didn't plan on what reaction would come of what happens next, right? Like, is somebody going to come out there and be outraged, right? And that's what it seems like has happened, is, holy fuck, there's a ton of outrage, everyone's all angry, and they didn't think about what would happen with
they
the
don't
outrage.
let you transfer it.
Yeah, they
right?
don't
like,
plan on it.
They potentially, if they change the code, they could say like, okay, well, we're going to get rid of ORM, but between now and then, we're going to make it for the first time where you can give people ORM and have it be alienable, fungible, something that's exchangeable.
Right, and I don't think they did a good job of that planning. That's where the outrage comes, and that's the reason I think it's not sorry. When you get upwards of 10,000 upvotes combined, that's big news, right? When the biggest daily amount is 100 to maybe most. Hey, Hot Drop.
I will never say that something that gets a lot of upvotes is something that actually counts as views, because according to R. Eve, like any random thing that I say or do, like they'll all get together and try to legislate through upvotes and downvotes.
But here's
how the world works.
But see, here's the thing with CCP. In the last 2 to 3 years, a lot of what they've done has been changed or managed based on how Reddit reacts. So there's an outpouring of Reddit upsetness, and then CCP tends to back down, or they tend to change it, So that's where I look at something like this and go, okay, let's see how CCP handles this. And right away, you have Rise coming on an Imperium level show when it's hard to get CCP guests sometimes on shows because they're just so busy. So it's like almost immediately within days of something like this happening, CCP's having to step in front of it now and go, oh shit, okay, let's look at this again. And that's where I think it's
I'm not sure about, like, I'll have to find out, because I want to ask, but it's entirely possible that, like, Matterall had asked CCP Rise on before this controversy broke out, because when I think of Rise, I don't really think of like RM or microtransition stuff. I think usually
It's his team.
Ship balancing and combat. Okay, I see.
Yeah, he's switched teams now. He said this at Vegas. He's not.
Okay.
Yeah, he switched teams recently, and he was talking about. I think it's his team. 90% sure. When I heard him at Vegas, he talked about something vastly different than balancing. So it's quite possible, yeah. But does CCP have a PR department? That's the thing. I don't understand. Like a lot of the things that CCP does, you scratch your head and go, couldn't they have just done this a little bit better with the way they communicated it, and then you don't have an outcry? It's almost like
they do have a PR department. They have CCP Manifest, who is infamous for naming things World War B and sending a press release out to
that guy.
all of everyone on the Eve newsletters to try to come join in against the Imperium with the war that he named.
About that guy.
So that worked out quite well. Regardless, let's move on to our next segment.
Yeah,
let's
so
give some shout outs here.
Jay, we've had Jay here this whole time, and I haven't really asked him what he thought of this. I've been wanting to ask Jay because Jay tends to hang out with like the common people a lot, right? And so
the common people,
like
I wouldn't refer to them as common people. That could
you have like I'm busy a lot this past week, but like I've been trying to spend more time hanging out with like the random line members to see what they think about things.
The random line members.
Yeah, Imperium member. What do you want to call it, dude? I'm just saying. I'm just giving it a name. But anyways, Jay, your opinion. What do you think?
The dudes, the boys.
I mean, you like skins, right?
Oh yeah, I love skins. I'm a skin collector. I've got a little bit of a habit and obsession with them, but it doesn't really affect me. I mean, yeah, I have about 2,000 or 3,000 Aurum laying around, but cool, that's going to be a couple extra Plex, but I mean, I don't give a shit. I think a lot of the people bitching is just, they see it as, oh, I have 500 Aurum left over from when CCP gave it us. Why don't I want free money, basically. It's pretty much what they are doing. So.
See, I like that response.
Wow. I'm still pretty impressed by the common people comment there. However, we do see somebody saying,
we run a Soviet state in Imperium where we have an autocracy. Common people is what made it possible. Isn't that the uprising?
All right, we just shot somebody actually. In addition to getting,
I was about to shoot him, so thanks for beating me to it.
Like somebody else actually beat me to that, but we just nuked some dude.
Yeah, so.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
All right, well, we're getting ready to move to the next segment. Well, CCP.
All right, so we're gonna give some shout outs here while Boat recovers from his little faux pas there. So, DX3 Eve just subscribed with Twitch Prime for 6 months in a row. That's excellent. Thank you, dude.
Yeah, I have a list.
Other shout outs?
Yeah, so Lumino Flux 22 months. Thank you very much, sir.
Frozen Fallout subscribed. Viper 187 for 6 months. Excellent. Andale Chanter for 6 months, and that brings us back to the end of the segment. That is excellent. Thanks a lot, guys.
Viper also 6 months. He says, "Oh, hello, nerds." So thank you, Viper 1872107. Yeah, I could put this somewhere else, but anyway. So we move on to our next segment, of course, and that's the Nullsec Power Hour. Ta-da! Wait, no, it's not. You're right. Damn it. Sorry. I know. It's this one. Around the world.
Boat is very excited today.
It's been a long week.
I notice. He killed all kinds of things in his Cormorant fleet yesterday.
All right. Somebody is saying that your mic is a little bit loud for us commoners. That is. Oh, man.
I'm sorry. I was trying to go with the whole Soviet Union, like the people, like
our people.
Yeah, like our people, like
the boys,
the common people, the common
line.
man, rising up from the bottom. Well, then what do you call it?
The boys.
No, I'm not talking about
the people,
whatever.
Our people. The dudes in the trenches, the line.
Yes, okay, dudes in the trenches. I think common people. Okay, it's a difference in a word. Okay, anyways, moving on. Apple Pear's here, and he brings with him Dutch, which is amazing.
Yes.
Oh, I love Dutch.
I thought I was the nose of the air yuppie asshole on this show.
No, I'm not trying to be uppity. I consider myself a There you go, comrade. There we go, comrades. That's the word I was looking for, and I was missing it. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Okay, so moving on. Apple Pear's here. Apple Pear comes from the corporation Haigoku, and he's going to introduce himself in about a few seconds. And he brings our Dutch segment to the international community, and I'm so excited. The proletariat. There we go. That's the word. So Apple Pear, if you might introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you and where you're from.
I'm Apple Pear. I'm from the Netherlands and not Holland because that's bad. I'm playing Eve since 2014 somewhere. About 2 years in GSF with Hakyuko, IFC sometimes, and if I don't do that, I fly Logi.
Aw.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about, like we are in these international segments, like we're showing, highlighting various areas of the Imperium, and your corporation, of course, Isildur is the CEO, have been with us for a long time now, and you are the leader of our Euro Time Zone coordination team in the Imperium military. But instead of talking about like FCing and coordinators, what we're really trying to do here on this segment is like find out, the Dutch community appears to be very tight knit. Like you guys have Amsterdam, your corporation runs an entire thing. So can you just tell our viewers a little bit about what it is like being a Dutch, in particular EVE player, what the Dutch EVE community is like, and how your corporation engages with the Dutch player base?
We are more an international corporation with most of the leadership is Dutch.
I mean, it's not Ned Clan, right? Because we do
No.
have within the Imperium a purely Dutch corporation, not purely, but you know what I mean. Recent election stuff notwithstanding. But so let's put the corporation stuff aside. But let's just hear from your perspective what it's like being a Dutch EVE player.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Dutch is not really, as far as I know, South Ned Clan is really having Dutch corporations. A lot of Dutch are pretty international, so we are all over the place. And the one thing I really see the Dutch community come together is Amsterdam, and that's like the event of the year, and it's pretty amazing. And last year we had, from our corp, we gathered together, had rented a farm, and we're there together with 20 people and organized the Imperium barbecue where we had like over 40, 50 people together during Amsterdam. So that was pretty amazing.
Which I am deeply regretful about missing. I had been interested in going to that, and then I had a whole lot of random personal life crap come up. And so right after Vegas was Amsterdam last year, and I was like, I just can't make this happen with all the other stuff that was going on. But this year, if it's going to be in November again, I should be able to make it with no further entanglement issues. So I'm looking forward to that. I've gone on some crazy benders with our guys. Like one started in Amsterdam and then it ended in Paris the next day.
And we have Germans and we have some Germans in the corp who are coming also to Amsterdam, so they bring in a good beer with them. So yeah, that's all get taken care of.
So what can you tell me about like Dutch players of EVE compared to, it seems like when we do this segment, every nationality has its own sort of like cultural quirks, like they play the game in a certain different way. Like we learned from the Korean player base about the factionalism that was divided around actually litigation. Like one group of players one guy had sued another player over EVE Online stuff and sort of escalated from there to camps. What are the Dutch players like compared to the other players in EVE? What would you say?
I don't really know. I don't play that much with Dutch players. We're always are all over the place, very international. Most of the people speak English at some degree and can read it pretty well. So that's why I don't think we are that grouped together. The only place I know there's one forum that has a topic about EVE, and for the rest, I haven't really found anything about it except NetClan. So yeah.
What's it like? I know whenever I think Dutch, I think V or Dead Clan in general. I mean, what's it like to go like under the radar? Because I had a joke in Loom a couple days ago when Twizzle was like, "Hey, I got you a guest from the Netherlands." I'm like, "Apple Pear's from the Netherlands? I thought he was from the U.S." So it's like you don't hear about.
You thought Apple Pear was?
No,
from
it was
the
a joke. It was a joke, right? But
okay.
It was the fact that you just don't hear about it. Like you don't hear much other than Ned Clan. It's like, oh yeah, they're from the Netherlands, right? So I mean. Do you guys get that a lot with your corp? It's like, oh, they're just a bunch of Europeans, not generalized, more generalized than anything.
Yeah, we get a lot of players all over the place. We have a few Dutch players, and that makes it like fun. The thing we tend to do is like, because most of the directorate and a lot of people are from a corp or Dutch or in the neighborhood, we just do random barbecues, and then people come together and we barbecue together and those kind of things.
Now, do your barbecues, do they have stroopwafels? Or however the fuck you pronounce it. You know what I'm talking about?
No, we don't have stroopwafels.
What do you mean?
What is
Those things are fantastic.
Okay, so what is the most Dutch thing that you have to bring to the table? Like when you're playing EVE, what is the most Dutch thing you encounter on a daily basis?
People asking me if are you Dutch and those kind of things sometimes, or are they guessing my accent because they're not always sure if it's Dutch or not, and those kind of things. And for the rest, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I learned from when I was over there most recently in 2012. Mr. V was showing me around, and I was introduced to the wonder that is stroopwafels and oliebollen, I think, is like
Yeah.
sobering up food. And then
Uh,
what was it? I learned the actual way that you pronounce it. In America, we call it Gouda cheese because it's spelled that way, but it's actually Gouda.
Gouda,
And,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I was like, so there's a lot of very interesting stuff about Holland, and of course, obviously, Holland is just one part of the Netherlands.
Please don't insult me.
See, exactly. There you go.
See, here's,
like I said, only one part of the Netherlands.
See,
but
so you got
there's like
introduced to
Frisians as well, and you know, there's a lot of really interesting stuff there. But one of the things that I found about the Dutch, and I'm the one doing the generalizing here, is that it's a really fascinating place and culture. But if you actually try to get somebody who is Dutch to talk about being Dutch, they just sort of awkwardly shuffle their feet and act like they have nothing interesting going on when they actually have all this really cool shit. That's my impression, anyway.
Yeah. Now, if you ever come the next time, I will take care of bringing some real Frisian food, some sukkerballen.
Are you Frisian?
I'm Frisian, yes.
Oh wow! Okay,
that's why it's
like
big. That's why it's calling me in Holland.
That's why it's this all extra special thing. Like there's a dude who is Frisian that was showing us all around Paris when we were there, and he also spoke fluent French. Anyway, so cool stuff.
You're lucky. You're talking about food and the enjoyment of the culture. My introduction to Dutch or the Netherlands in general was here's a bag of shrooms. Go have fun. That was literally what I got when I was in Amsterdam.
Well, I mean, you learn how to really clear your throat, right? Because in order to pronounce a G, you need to be like, it's not just. It's not just how to. It's
I had tour guides with me, so it made it easier.
That's the joke. Obviously, coffee shops, which are fantastic.
Oh yes.
And did you Apple Player? Have you had what is it? Capsulon? Capsulon is
that's a real wake up.
Why don't you tell everybody? How about this? We're gonna go foodie here. Tell everybody who hasn't had one what the fuck a Capsulon is and why it's awesome.
Capsulon is a shawarma meat, and then vegetables, and then French fries, and then a cheese over that. And maybe I'm missing something. And that's all together in one thing. So not all together in layers. And you get that, and like if you eat that, you have enough calories for a day, and it's just amazing.
So it's ideal drunk food. It's basically like Dutch poutine. Like the Dutch basically took like poutine and mashed like shawarma and gyros into it and covered it all in cheese. And it was good shit.
So here's the question though. Then do you eat? Now, Mr. V told us about this once, and it made me like want to like go crazy. I love food, all kinds of food. I'll eat everything except for meat paste. I don't know what you guys call it.
Leverwurst.
Oh God! Don't even remind me. He showed it to us once, and it was like meat out of a tube, and it was like this paste thing. And he's like, "Oh, it's the best thing ever." And I'm like, "Oh my God, no, it's not! Get away!"
Yes, on bread or on toastings, etc. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, capsulons are awesome, and I had never heard of these things. And V introduced it. Basically, like we were out. I forgot. We were like either it wasn't Den Haag because Den Haag can be kind of boring. Couple good coffee shops there, but like we were just on some bender, and there's actually a picture on my Facebook from way back in the day of me like smoking weed in front of a couple of like a spoof painting of like two cherubs smoking weed, getting really high. And then we had a capsulon, and I was like, my God, this is the best thing ever. It's good shit.
But he didn't introduce you to the real best thing we have as Frisian, sukkerballen, like sugar bread. It's just amazing. It's
really
bread in sugar with kanai. I don't know the English word for that, but it's fucking amazing. If you come to Amsterdam,
I'll fucking be there. I'm already getting hungry again because I've missed out on all that stuff. So that's excellent. So yeah, this is the nice thing about EVE Online is you get to experience actual world cultures and drink in interesting places with interesting people and talk about
cinnamon. That was it. Thank you.
Cinnamon. Gotcha.
Oh,
that sounds sort of like a
sugar and cinnamon on a bread. That sounds like a Cinnabon they have here, right?
A Cinnabon.
Well, the company's called Cinnabon, but it's what is that thing?
Oh my God.
It is a Cinnabon. That's right. It's like a roll that's got like it's really good. I don't know. I don't eat it, so whatever.
God, it's just horrible.
Food is food.
Awesome.
Yeah. Could you speak some Netherlandish for us?
Yeah, that's right.
That's the next part. That's the next part of this is that normally when we have an international guest, we want them to speak in their native language and talk about why either their corp is awesome or just why people should be interested from that community in what we do here in this forum in the Imperium. So let's hear some Frisian accented Dutch.
Do you want Frisian or Dutch? Because that's a different language.
Do both. Do both.
Do both. Do one of each.
Okay.
Do one of each.
I want to compare. So tell us what you're going to do first, too.
Oké, I will do Dutch first.
Okay.
Nou, Hagjuku is een internationale korp wat erg PvP gericht is. Met een groot aantal Alliance FC's. Daarnaast hebben we ook mensen die ervan houden om grote schepen te bouwen. Maar ja, wie doet dat niet in Delft? En als je ons wilt joinen, dan kun je gewoon naar onze in-game channel gaan. En dan kunnen we altijd een gesprekje hebben. That's Dutch. And now I have to translate that into Frisian. Hagjuku is een internationale korp wat PvP gerucht is. Het een groot aantal Alliance FC's. Daarnaast heb ik mensen die ervan houden om grote schepen te bouwen. Maar wie doet dat net in Delft? En als je dus was joinen of hij was dan kun je altijd naar je in-game channel gaan en dan hebben een gesprek erover.
Wow, that is really interesting.
That second one,
it sounds sort of almost like a Scandinavian root language. I don't know what the
it sounds like
linguistic
he's bouncing
root of
as he says
Frisian
it.
is.
Like you can almost like hop up and down as you say that second one. It just sounds so cool.
Frisian is a pretty old language. Old Frisian is.
I have to Google this right now because.
Yeah, it's West Frisian.
Do you know the linguistic root of Frisian?
I don't know exactly.
I got this. I gotta. Are we talking? It is a Germanic language.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's spoken at the moment. It's in Friesland, part of the Netherlands, part of Denmark has a small community who still speaks Frisian. And also a part of Germany has a part that speaks Frisian. In the old days, Frisian was like a very big country, and then that's ages and ages ago. We had kings in the year 600 and all those kind of things. Like that. It has a very long history.
So I have an important question, and this is the most important question of this whole segment: is are you drinking right now?
No.
Ah, darn! He's the first international guest that's not drunk while talking to us.
That's right. Normally speaking, while we have international guests, they are already.
Our Chinese guest
Aries
yesterday
bar.
was downing beers like it was, or on Saturday was downing beers like they were a glass of water. It was just like, yeah, I'm gonna get more alcohol. Be right back.
Interesting. All right. Well, thank you so much, Alvin.
Yeah, thanks, Applepear.
We're gonna let you wander off and have a life, and we're gonna go into the Nullsec Power Hour, which is still basically
Yes.
a whole bunch of random ass drama of nerds getting mad about
Yeah,
bullshit.
so before we get to that, Bethael, thank you for your 22 months, sir. I very greatly appreciate you subscribing again. Yay, more subscribing. Don't forget, you can subscribe, donate, and follow. There are buttons below down here in the box.
That's right. And we have like 3 wacky levels of donations with different animations. So like there's
yes.
bronze, silver, and gold, and they actually show totally different animations that the creative department came up with, just like the same dudes who came up with the really cool station identification stinger that we now play intro and outro, which is pretty cool shit.
Nullsec Power Hour! Holy shit, Jay.
Awesome.
That comment in the chat, what the hell? So we move on to the Nullsec Power Hour, and of course the very first thing I want to show us is something that Mittens only saw recently. I'm surprised, because I saw it right when it came out, because someone linked it to Elysium.
I was doing important things. I was moving my battle station from one part of my apartment to another while this nerd was...
I see. I had just gotten home, and Rix Javix has made a video on Matani from one of your shows. I believe it was your either Thursday or Friday show, in which you were talking about him.
It was last Friday where basically like we were talking about the Rix and Grath drama, and apparently he decided that he tried to Kool-Aid Man into the channel when I was talking about him and being all like Herf Blorf, and I'm like, look, dude, just fuck off. You're a piece of garbage. I don't care.
So I want to ask Jay.
So now apparently he decided to make a whole video about it, which is awesome.
Jay, I want to ask you. You're our guest. You haven't talked a lot, so we're going to make you talk here. Well, what do you think about Rix Javix as an Eve player? What's your opinion on him?
My opinion of him is, I don't hold him in very high regard. He lives in low sec, so that's obviously a big
Harsh
crime
words.
against him. Secondly, like this whole, I don't know the whole drama story behind it about him. Like there's like some child support drama, whatever about that. I don't really give a shit. But he runs a shitty low sec corporation, so
And he's very
I
proud
don't
about
agree.
running a shitty
Yes,
low
he
sec
is.
corporation.
So
Yeah.
he,
I mean, it's interesting because like when Boat put this on the, we have like a show plan, and it was Rick Javix who made the video, but was like, hey, like Naiden is mad at you,
yeah.
Alex, and Naiden was the one who posted this video on Reddit. So Naiden, of course, because I haven't had a chance to call him out recently, Naiden runs Crossing Zebras,
shittiest
and
site
he is like Rick Javix, also a hypocritical piece of shit. Naiden has been constantly running anti-goon pieces, anti-Imperium pieces, and if he just admit that he was sort of like Seraph Basarab and was just this frothingly anti-us person, I could have at least some degree of respect for that. But instead,
or he just said he was a PL shrill, like most places.
Yeah, he
admit
is a
it, you
PL
know?
shill. Like his
Yeah.
entire media outlet is literally a group of PL shills, and he freaks out about being called out on this. So the fact that Boat brought this to the table just a few minutes before the show started, and it's like, hey, Naiden is doing this. It's like, so now what I know is that like Naiden is all mad and probably friends with Rick Javits.
Oh, I guarantee you,
they're fucking two peas in a pod.
Well, it's
basically.
interesting
Like,
too
those people,
because
they deserve each other.
Because he got called out by a drunken member of the Imperium News last night. It was wonderful to watch. I think it was what is that guy's name? The guy that runs the show last night. Not the Open Com show.
Dirk.
Dirk.
Just another
Dirk goes.
you.
Dirk has his show last night, and Dirk's like, "So, Rix, from what I'm seeing from all this, you just sound kind of like a man-child." It's like, and he's like, "Look, you're looking for like sympathy on everything you do and everything you," and it's just like the whole thing led up to this, like him calling him out. I thought yesterday was going to be like, "Hey, let's be nice to Rix." You know, Rick Javix, like everyone else tends to be, and then no, he just calls him out, and I'm like,
we're
yes!
not nice to this guy.
Oh, yeah, no, I think he's a douchebag.
There's definitely like there's like this crew of people who are similarly thin-skinned, people who can't take responsibility for their failures, like a Naiden.
That's what he
People
said.
who can't
Yeah.
see the reality for it is, are all going to band together behind somebody like Rick's because he makes it okay for them to be entitled, thin-skinned
Yeah.
pieces of shit. They look, well, this guy is such a nice guy, right? And he's a nice guy. He's always blaming other people for their problems. He's always making mealy-mouthed excuses for why he doesn't have to take responsibility for his actions. I'm like that. And so the people who are grouping up with Ricks are sort of flagging themselves as being like him, and I think that's excellent. I'm glad that these guys are all going to get together and, be pathetic. And I'm glad that Dirk called him out. I think that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
so Dirk kind of called him out. Like you said, he's looking for sympathy in almost everything he does, or looking for a handout. And I don't know. It's hard to comment on stuff like that because I mean, we always mock Sword Dragon for his GoFundMe's, but then you look at Sword Dragons. Sword Dragons are minor compared to what this guy's done. I read a post recently where it pointed out that he got over 14,000 different Eve people to donate for him to like pay his child support and keep out of jail, and it's like, what kind of human does that? But no, that's just me. Anyway, as we
Now we
move
know.
on, yeah, now we know exactly. That's the kind of person. And like someone just said in chat, well, he seemed like a nice guy last night because that's what he does. He comes on to Eve, acts like this nice guy, and then proceeds to rob everyone blind. As it.
Oh, I mean, the thing is that they are. It's not that he's robbing them. It's that he has his
Right.
sob story, and he's got thousands and thousands of words. And Dale Chanter is pointing out that if you go on his blog, it will explain everything, and there's just thousands of words.
Yeah, I don't
of
want to read
crap.
all that.
And that's the joke. But everything that's being talked about in this controversy involving him and Grath. What's interesting is that there is no real dirt, right? There's everything that is being said is a matter of public record on things that this guy has actually written up himself. I mean, the guy, and credit to him. He has managed to take grievance and being thin-skinned and acting essentially like he's got a constant case of the vapors while he's clutching at his pearls. This guy has managed to get a whole bunch of Redditors to give him money for sob stories, right? And, God bless. If those people want to give this guy money because they see that he's like them, then who the fuck
To
am I
each
to
their
care?
own. Yeah, to each their own, I guess.
And but I'm not gonna call this guy anything other than what he is. I'm not gonna buy into his
Exactly.
frame. I'm not gonna be like, no, you're not actually a thin-skinned, hypocritical piece of shit who blames other people for his failures, right? Like, it is what it is. I'm not gonna fault him for getting money for the people who
People
like
get angry
something.
at us because we speak the truth, but I mean, it's all there
Yeah.
in text. I mean, come on now.
We just throw it out. Like, that is the way it is, and that's the thing. Is
We
that I'm not-
report and we
you don't-
decide.
Yeah, we report, we decide. You don't see us going and making a 3-minute long YouTube video that has lots of animations and shit that probably took because actually trying to make a video
It didn't
takes
come
time.
out like a day after. It came out a week later.
Yeah, it probably took him some
basically
time.
Oh yeah, because even doing something like that, like it takes hours and hours. If you ever tried to do any kind of like video production with any kind of customization, like it's a huge time sink. So here, this motherfucker, I'm like saying, wow, him and Grath had a slap fight, and this guy's a piece of shit. Read his blog on a throwaway stream in a totally unprepared way, just speaking off the cuff, like I am right now. And dude is so ass blasted about it that he's got to go make a fucking reaction video.
Yeah, Reddit blew up on him. It was great.
All the stuff like. What the fuck, people?
Yeah,
don't you have anything better to do? Maybe this is why he doesn't have any money, because he's too busy making videos about
That was one comment
me.
that someone made, and he's so busy worried about Eve and not his real money that he's struggling to live in life. So yeah, that shit's funny. And so we'll move from him onto a more comical subject. This was announced this week, and I'll link it in the chat. Eve Uni CEO sent an email announcing his retirement. He announced for the first time, and I don't know how long Eve Uni's been going, but their CEO has finally stepped down. He's leaving.
Well, it's not the first CEO handoff, right? I mean,
I don't know about Eve Uni. I don't know. I don't pay attention to it.
Well, yeah, because it was Eve Uni. I'm trying to remember what his name was. He ran for CSM. Keldum Revan was CEO of Eve Uni before. So this is not like, I mean, he's been the Eve Uni CEO for a long ass time, 4 years, which is a good run, absolutely, and so well done to him.
Yeah. I don't know, it's interesting. And then the next story, that's just a quick little snippet, but the next story is the best one. And I want, Jay, your opinion. I don't know if you saw what Initiative did with this. Someone tried to tell me about it last night, and I missed it a little bit, but there's the battle report. Horde got baited on a free Rorqual. Somebody was Rorqual ratting in Fade. Initiative and friends waited patiently with their dreads for Horde to do its usual escalation path, which is they get a Rorqual tackle, they wait for it to go into its like safe mode, and then they drop 40 carriers to save the Rorqual, and then they got slow played by Initiative, just kind of like tested against the Russians, and Initiative proceeded to kill 100 billion, escort the dreads. Lol.
The very interesting part about this is, like an hour before this happened, a P Horde, like the FC, one of their FCs, scouted the dreads midpointing and logging off, so they knew it was there.
Wait, are you kidding me, Jay? Hold on, tell me about this. Tell me this story. Here we go.
I don't know if this is public or not, but I've been told by the Snuffbox FCs that they were scouted and they just logged off. And yeah, Horde scouted them but did nothing about it, so it was preventable. The carrier fits that P-Horde are running are super weird, like MWDing carriers is pretty bad. They had like 4 faxes. Everything that could have went wrong on this pretty much went wrong.
Sounds kind of like something familiar.
Didn't they run like Rorquals as Logi for their carrier fleets?
Although I actually completed my objective when I lost the Revenant. So the objective was to kill the Dread and not lose a jump freighter, and I succeeded in both of them.
Yeah, so like Apple paired to that point, actually they've. I did hear from a guy recently about that Rorqual thing. They do use Rorquals as Logi, but the thing is, the Rorqual doesn't get a rep amount. It only gets rep range and the cycle speed. So it's really shit at repping capitals. Really good at repping subcaps. Really shit at repping capitals. So if that's the case, then holy fuck.
Yeah, they had to change, of course, since the Rorqual nerf, because it cannot panic anymore and all those bad things. So yeah.
Yeah, so someone just said in chat here that they use a Rorqual Logi Doctrine. I don't know, but they got slow played, and I see this as a common occurrence now with Rorquals, and there's been a couple of call-out threads regarding Rorquals about this, but with some CCP changes. But Rorquals seem to be the thing that people use as bait to get the bigger thing. So you get a Rorqual tackled, you find out if that alliance is going to drop something serious business to save it, then you just wait a week. You do it again. When they drop something serious to save it, you counter drop with everything. The Russians did it to Test. PL did it to JMA's Revenant. It happened to Horde. Now twice now Horde has been counter dropped by something bigger, where they've lost an entire cap fleet. I see it as a wonderful escalation path. It makes me happy. I don't know about you.
I'm pretty happy overall that people are taking fights and whatnot. The thing is with the Rorqual is most people have figured out the Wetu Depot trick now, so that even if you do kill it, it's going to be like what 2-3 bullets kill now. So it's not super expensive, and it's not really worth going after them. It's more tackling the Rorqual and just farming the support that comes in unsupported.
Yeah, I've been doing that lately with peacetime fleets. I don't know, Mittens, if you've been on much fun fleets lately. I know you go on Startup sometimes, but we've been having a lot of, like, you tackle the Rorqual, and then you wait, you let it sino, and then kill everything else that comes in, because the
Yeah,
Rorqual you can't kill.
like ringing the fucking dinner bell, right?
Exactly,
You
yes.
panic, and then you go, you know, dinner's ready, boys, and you wait for idiots to jump in and try to save it, and away you go.
Yeah, and so that's what we've been using against groups that actually use it. Speaking of baiting people out, Jay and Jay, I want to ask your opinion on this. Jay was with me on last night. We did a boat show, Cormorant Fleet. Jay provided 100 free Cormorants. What was the highlight of your Cormorant experience, Jay? You were in a Saber the whole time. What was your highlight of that op?
I don't know if it was okay. So the highlight for me was I was in a Saber, and I was the one Saber in fleet, so I was pretty valuable to the fleet. I'm a valuable member to every fleet, but I was especially valuable to this fleet. And PL were coming in with their like missile Tengus, and they had a lot of like what I would call casual pilots on the fleet. They had people like Graf and Elise and whatnot who weren't really paying attention. They were just there for something to do, I guess. But every now and then they would fleet warp and someone would miss it, and I would go bubble them and would kill them. But that was a lot of fun.
The highlight for me was their FC Headliner. If you don't know, Headliner tends to run these go to catch to kill the goons, killing brave fleets, and he does these Tengu fleets. So he does remote rep Tengus with missile Tengus, and it's all Tengus and a couple of Hictors. And they came to kill our little newbie Cormorants that Jay had provided free for our newbies, and Headliner comes out of warp first, but I was in a Stork. So he landed like 3 seconds before his fleet and broke his invuln, thinking he could just tackle me and then get the Farbus, but he didn't fit a scrab, so I storked him off. So if you don't know what a Stork is, it has a little MGD that warps everyone around you. So we warped their FC 100k away from their fleet, killed him alone, and then warped off and didn't lose anybody. PL was so mad in local, it was wonderful. It made a great thing, but then we got bombed. Yeah. But we killed like 3 Tengus with Cormorants. Like the Cormorants were worth less value than 1 Tengu, and we ended up killing 3 in the face of all the PL.
Also, sex appeal. I mean, the new Cormorant hull.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful,
fantastic.
absolutely beautiful. Yeah, so we're probably gonna do more of those. But Jay here, he's been just having fun. That's the reason I wanted to bring him on as a guest. I wanted to hear about what kind of fun he's been up to. It seems like Jay does a lot of our ops lately, especially when he's in a chill mode, especially after losing his Revenant. I wanted to bring him on when he lost it, but he seemed.
You're just gonna throw that out there, Bo?
He
You're
said,
like,
"Yeah,
Jay, you're awesome. Jay, you're awesome. Jay, you're great. Also, you lost a Revenant."
Well, every chance I get to ask him about it. I wanted to ask him. So, what was it like? Because I've lost a Revenant. I know Mittens, you haven't lost anything expensive yet.
Yours counts though, does it?
Well, I mean, it does. I mean, it had a nice fit. It had X types on it and everything.
I guess so. I mean, it kind of sucked, but I mean, whatever. I have an avatar now, and I'm enjoying having the avatar a lot more.
How many skins do you have on your avatar now?
I'm up to 5 out of 7.
What the fuck?
5 out of 7.
Isn't that like
hey,
10 billion?
Fashion is important, guys. Fashion.
I've probably spent about 11 or 12 bill. Like, I spent about a fourth of the whole cost on skins.
Yeah, well, you say fashion's important. I can't say anything. I have one of the rarest like jackets in the game. It's like 20 billion ISK. Yeah,
Bo didn't really lose a Revenant. Moa lost a Revenant.
Oh, that's right, Moa did. I lost it, but I was in Moa at the time. I'm sorry. And
yeah.
I've had newbies call me a spy.
In your previous career.
I've had newbies call me a spy for that. Yeah, like this. I was streaming once on the character that lost it, and the character's a goons. And I was streaming Intel Channel because I was camping a gate in a workhole, and some Karma newbie was like, "Oh my God, this guy that used to be in MOA that lost a Revenant in MOA, he's reporting our Intel Channels live, and he's camping a gate. Can we just kill him?" And he comes and tackles me. He's like, "Guys, I got him tackled in the Intel Channel." And everyone's like, "What?"
I got the spy.
Yeah.
I got the MOA spy.
And I was live streaming
His
it,
name
just
is
laughing.
the Big Red Boat.
Yeah, the guy ended up quitting. Like he straight up quit Goons because he couldn't believe that we let a spy in. It was.
Well, that sucks. I
Yeah.
mean, that's
He was
a
a
failure
spy.
of communication.
Well,
but,
he was a spy. But that's why it was funny.
Okay, well, that's different.
But yeah, so lately though, Jay, you've been doing a lot of ops. I've seen you do carrier fleets pretty regularly, capital fleets. What's that like? I mean, do you have fun seeing capital fleets? I see that you take fleets up to Fountain and stomp on the TC guys up there every once in a while. I mean, what's that like?
Yeah, I pretty much switched from doing sub caps to caps and super caps now. It's a lot of fun. Fleets are different paced, which I enjoy. It's a lot slower. There's not always fights, but I mean that's to be expected.
So you'd say you like it nice, slow, and gentle?
So,
if you want to put those words in my mouth, then yes.
Wow, well, that escalated quickly. So one other thing here is that I know that we've been keeping eyeballs on this. I'm not really sure whether it's public knowledge yet. Is that move op that we were tracking earlier, Jay, is that over and done with?
There are currently 2 move ops going on right now. There
Yeah.
is a Triumvirate move op, and there is an NC dot move op.
They're both
I'm
moving
watching the
there.
NC dot one.
And what's the status on the NC dot one?
They're currently in Barlaget on the. I don't know who owns this for design. Let me have a look.
Yeah, this is something we probably could share live. Here, bringing it here first on the Meta Show. I forgot. We tend to break the news and we report it.
On a neutral-owned Citadel in Barlaget.
Yeah,
With-
they're
When
on
the
the
news
way.
breaks, we break it harder.
Yeah, they're on the way. We did scout a massive tri-cat fleet. Like 60-some
Barlaget isn't too
wyverns.
far from us. I mean, we've gone further to kill Fortizars before.
That's true.
Yeah, so they have a lot of wyverns. They have a lot of
Let's make a note of that
carriers.
one. I mean, the move op that I was seeing, the link I was shown from scouts earlier, was not what I would expect from an NC dot move op.
Yeah, that's the triumvirate one. So we scouted a triumvirate cat fleet, pure chimeras, wyverns, and leviathans. A couple of Ragnaroks thrown in, a couple of hells, but you did and all Naglfars, like 60-some Naglfars. So you just saw no armor carriers. So that's why I was like, wait a minute, NC dot's doing a move up. Who the fuck are these guys? And then we found out it was triumvirate. So it's quite possible they're going together somewhere. I mean, they do work together once in a while. They used to be the same alliance until they split off. And with War God not playing anymore, it's possible that Triumvirate works for NC Dot now. Well, I was going to call them pets.
You say work for? I think
I'm
it's
pets.
NC holds Felician.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're pets now. Triumvirate, you saw in the last war. I don't know if you paid attention to much of it, because I mean you were there all the time. People say you don't log into Eve. That's why I ask.
I have no idea about anything involving Eve Online whatsoever.
You don't ever
I'm just
participate
very
in any of the metagame or anything.
That's true.
But Triumvirate didn't seem to roll with their allies very much, which was FCON. They seem to roll a lot more with NC Dot during fights or like other people that you would expect them not to be going with. So the fact that they're doing a move up at the same time that NC Dot is kind of interesting. I'm excited to see where they go.
Yeah, also, it's Triumvirate has been living in Curse and, well, I call them, just moved into Curse, so maybe Tri is a little bit scared to use those super caps as freely as they have
Now,
been doing.
is
the previous
NC
months.
moving supers and everything, or is it just
No,
subs?
NC are in a carrier fleet. They have about 200 carriers or so.
You know,
and about 100 dreadnoughts and
I
some taxes.
wonder if NC Dot's going to do the same thing PL's doing. Could you imagine?
Most likely, yeah. Just sort
Yeah.
of a low level, not doing a supers thing, just trying to make sure that they can farm people for the blessed content.
It seems
as it
like
were.
all of EVE, now the people that matter in EVE, NC.PL and I would say even us, are starting to move away from big fancy battleship fleets, like real expensive 1 to 2 billion-esque fleets of battleships where your material costs a lot of money, to a free carrier. I mean, carriers are what, 400 mil after insurance and all the shit fits. I mean, that's cheaper than a battleship, right? So NC.'s doing it, PL's doing it, and I mean, other people seem to be doing it, possibly Triumvirate. So could we
think
see that as a
the-
change of EVE, Jay?
I think the main reason they're doing these doctrines right now is carriers are untested to a certain extent. Obviously, I'm about to get decloaked.
Yeah, that's
when you were fighting PL and NCW were fighting CO2, they didn't really have a chance to use their just carrier fleet, like just carriers on their own, too much. So I think that's what everyone's wanting to do right now, is just see how like a group of 100 or 200 carriers does against 1,000 subcaps or something.
Just as a slight aside here, I'm noticing a sudden big uptick in viewer numbers, and I think it's amusingly probably because of
Calling
daylight
Nighted
savings
out?
time crap. Is basically everyody who not because of calling Nighted
Oh,
because nobody gives a
time.
fuck about Nighted.
Yeah, it's 5
but
o'clock.
right now it's time for us to actually end the show. We've run over a little bit late.
Oh, shit.
We're on because of daylight savings time. All of this. There's this massive disconnect between what's happening in the United States and the rest of the world because we go onto DST a couple weeks before everybody else. So
Yeah, good
all
point.
day to day, Loom meetings, Kremlin meetings, fireside chats. Everybody's been a little bit confused because we would normally. Everybody who's in Europe is expecting everything to start an hour after it actually does.
Yeah,
so here we are.
So we got one last thing before we go here, and that's a wonderful screenshot that was provided by someone on Reddit, and it's of a contract that you can find. It's not on the test server. Like, you'd think this would be on the test server. And I want you guys to click this link and count the zeros. Now, that's not 10 billion, as I originally assumed. That's 10,000 billion for the contract. So if you got 10,000 billion, which is 10 trillion is lying around, you can own everything in this contract. And to give you an idea, everything in this contract is originals. You have 5 I'm going to say this again, 5 tournament ships, each valued between 100 and 200 billion ISK, and original blueprints for things such as a Rapier. There was a Falcon, 2 Rooks, 2 command ships, all original T2 BPOs, all researched. This guy threw up this contract. Now, we found out that contracts do have a cap on cost, so it doesn't cost him very much to throw this up. But this is ridiculous. To have this much shit.
Pick it up and see what they're.
Yeah, I looked it up, and the valuation's a little high. 10 trillion is a little high, I think, on this. But the fact that kind of a
well, I mean, if you started
exists,
out, I mean, that's the thing about how wealth snowballs, right? If you start out as like a group who has T2 BPOs and are able to just keep amassing wealth during the heyday of about a decade before, or not a decade, I guess it was like 8 or 9 years before they came out with Invention to make it just not a free money hose, and then you're able to just buy things whenever you want. So it sort of makes sense that an early Eve fortune would snowball up into something. That's
I love what he called this. He calls it on his description of the contract. It says, "I'm so rich it hurts." That's a lot of stuff. I mean, what do you do? See, that's the question I have next, and this is the reason I brought this up for the show. And Mittens might know about this with Eve, because goons tend to be wealthy sometimes, every once in a while. What do you do with 10 trillion ISK? Like, say someone does buy this. What the fuck do you do with 10 trillion? I mean, you've got all this stuff, so obviously you're extremely wealthy to begin with. What do you do with 10 trillion at that point? Because I don't that other than straight up RMT at all. Like, is there any use for it?
You rig the entire market,
opposite them, and lose them on beacons.
Yeah, I mean,
or that exactly. That's what Jay does.
But, I mean,
having infinite money means that you just start. Money becomes a means to other ends, right? Like if the goal was having lots of ISK. I mean, functionally speaking, I sit on top of the Goonswarm wallet, right? So I can buy anything in Eve that I want, pretty much whenever. Which also means that I just don't, because I don't really have a thing where it's like I want to work up to get X, because I can just go like, okay, well, I want another Titan. There you go. It stops being a motivator, right? So you end up like looking at it as a means to an end. You can use the seed capital to manipulate markets or control sections of the market if you're good at that, right? Just because somebody has a lot of money from T2 production or something doesn't mean that they're able to manipulate markets on the level of somebody like an Aerith or a Weasel or
and that's how
the finance team,
right? And that's how I feel. Like I agree with you on like when you have so much money, you just like fuck it. I'll just buy what I need whenever I feel like it, and it doesn't matter. It's gotten to that point for me where it's almost like the test server. I feel like if I need something, it's $1 billion ISK, who cares? And then people look on the stream are like, wait, you just spend $1 billion? Like what? It's like, whatever. So yeah, that'll be the last little bit of our show here, because we are over on
boat,
time.
what are you going to be doing on the boat show
Eve
next?
Online. I'm taking out a claw fleet today, so I've been
claw fleet on the boat show.
Yeah, I changed all my times, so I stream now in the afternoon when I get home. So I have all my streams in near US Prime. So I started doing like these peacetime fleets, and so I've been doing Cormorants, Claws, stuff like that. So we're gonna do Claws today on his stream. Probably get pipe bombed yet again. So yeah, that's gonna be on the show. So yeah, thanks our two guests, Apple Pear, if he's still here. You've been kind of quiet, and then Jay Maziness, of course. Thank you for stopping by and chatting with us.
The
as
voice
always.
of the plebs, the voice of the common people, Jay Maziness.
CSM people.
Yes, please vote for the CSM exactly the way that we tell you to, and we will see you all next week.
And if you're not in the Imperium and you'd like a list of how to vote, the end of the voting happens soon, so I'll probably have a tweet about how to vote properly if you're not in the Imperium and don't know how to vote properly. So
vote for the state.
Yes, vote for the state. So bye, everybody. I'll see you guys in a few moments.
Thanks, guys. Boat show coming up next.
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching The Meta Show.